All right, Shalom. I like to start off by saying Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and enough respect, salutations to the brothers that are out there pushing and spreading the truth to the four corners of the world. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, I just want to touch a quick video, read like a few articles, like skim through, bring out, the important parts, and I'm gonna try hard to show. I mean, you should know what time we're in already, but we're still blowing the trumpet. We're still letting the people know what's going on, and right now you always hear something going on between countries, but it's been like more about the United States losing allies. There's friction, static going on between United States and countries they thought were allies, but these are all prophecies coming to pass, man. And it's crazy because they're not just like going behind the U.S. back, right, for like a country that isn't rivaling U.S., but they're doing it to a country that's rivaling you, like the United States, America. They're going to Russia. They're leaving the United States and they're going to Russia. And this is all prophecies going to pass. Because America is not doing enough justice to them, right? It's not treating them the way they want to be treated. And so just like the scripture says, Gog and Magog shall be a guard unto them, that's what's happening. So this video I have right here, I'm going to play like a real quick short version of it. It says, Turkey may swing eastward, right, if U.S. sanctions, over S-400. Now, let's just get into it, play it, and then, we'll get into it.
Now, switching gears, in Turkey, we had the Turkish F-16 warplanes. They flew over Ankara Monday, again today, to test out its new Russian S-400 missile defenses, despite pressure from the U.S. to actually drop this system altogether. U.S. says the system isn't compatible with NATO defenses. Why is this a threat to the U.S. if Turkey's helping us combat ISIS? What's going on with this situation?
Well, the United States does not want weapon systems outside of the NATO structure to be used because of the F-35 and other U.S. Air Force jets, which talk to one another. And the question is, in the testing, were there Russian technicians involved? And that's unknown as yet. But what we're seeing here is that Trump has not implemented the sanctions that he's authorized to do. He's obviously exercising a kind of waiver, if you will, because he has a personal relationship with Erdogan, and Erdogan.
Right. So it's saying that Turkey, they want to put sanctions on Turkey because Turkey has been making deals with Russia concerning military stuff. Now this man is saying that Trump is doing some sort of waiver. He doesn't really want to, put sanctions on them, right? He want to put sort of like he's what did he say?
He's obviously exercising a kind of
waiver, but that's because he has a personal. I'm putting my hands up in quotations. He said he has, but that's not it, because they're scared for Turkey to leave. Why? Because, well, before I get into this, Turkey is the second largest standing military force in the NATO after the United States Armed Forces, right? With an estimated strength in 2015, it was 2015, 639,501 military, civilian, and paramilitary personnel. Okay, so NATO is a pretty useful ally, right? They have a large military. They have a large military, second to the U.S. Now NATO don't want to lose. The United States doesn't want to lose that. All right, they want to hold on tight to them. That is why this article says U.S. wants Turkey back in fold as tensions mount between NATO allies. Right? You have like again, you had this whole thing with Macron, president of France. He went on for months, talking about how, well, he's still doing it now. Right? He said NATO is brain dead. He's trying to convince NATO country to leave US. He's trying to convince them to leave US and ally themselves with Russia, and he's still doing that. Okay, now the US sees what is happening. They see it like they're not, like, to a point. They're not stupid to a point. They understand what's happening, and they're trying to what keep it from happening. They're trying to stop it, but that's not what's going on. See, every day you hear countries aren't scared of them anymore. They're doing what they want as long as Russia is backing them up. They're leaving them for Russia, right? They put on sanctions on them, thinking that it's going to keep them from doing it, but they don't care. Like, they don't give a fuck, right? They keep doing it. And Turkey, let me show you, there's this thing called the, let's see, it's like the deterrence theory, right? Now, the deterrence theory is the idea that an inferior force, by virtue of destructive power of the force's weapon, could deter a more powerful adversary, provided that the force could be protected against, destruction by a surprise attack. Well, this whole deterrence theory, right, is that in order, right, the word deter is to discourage somebody, to keep somebody from doing something, right? So this whole theory, right, is the idea that if you have a destructive power, if you have the ability to do massive damage, like with a nuclear weapon, countries don't want to fuck with you. Nobody wants to play with you. No one wants to walk all over. Everybody will treat you with respect. That is the theory. Now, and it says, well, let me see if I can find, this doctrine gained increased prominence, right, as military strategies during the Cold War. With regard to the use of nuclear weapons, they wanted to use the nuclear weapons. They understand how powerful it makes them. They understand how powerful it makes them feel. Now, it said it gained increased prominence. They like this idea. To them, it makes sense. But I'm not gonna go into how it's all flawed and all that stuff. But this is what's. Before I get into that, let's see. So the idea is that if you have if you have a weapon, if you have a destructive power, people won't want to mess with you. And this is what the United States did for Turkey. It says Turkey is one of 5 NATO members. Let me highlight. Yeah, Turkey is one of 5 NATO member states which are part of the nuclear sharing policy of the alliance, together with Belgium, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands. Now, the nuclear sharing policy is a concept, right, in NATO's policy of nuclear deterrence. Okay, so in order for countries to be more powerful, to feel esteemed, in order to be respected, right? This is what the nuclear deterrence. That's the theory of it. It's let me see. They have to share nuclear. They have to give nuclear weapons to those so-called countries that don't have their own, that don't have weapons like that. Okay, so it says that let me see. So as part of the nuclear sharing, right, the participating countries carry out consultations and make common decisions on nuclear weapon policies, maintain technical equipment like nuclear-capable airplanes required for the use of nuclear weapons, and store nuclear weapons on their territory. In case of war, the United States told NATO allies that the non-proliferation treaty would no longer be controlling. Now, the non-proliferation treaty. Let's get into it. it basically go into how like the whole point of the treaty on the proliferation of the nuclear weapons is to not spread it. Like, so it's whose objective is to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and weapons technology, to promote cooperation and peaceful uses of nuclear energy, right? So they say that it makes sense to have it so that no country will mess with you, but let's make it in a way. Let's try as hard as we can. Let's do everything in our power to make sure we don't have to use it. But this is where you can poke holes in the whole logic of nuclear deterrence, that theory, right? But they want to try as hard as they can to not use the nuclear weapons, right? And to further the goal of achieving nuclear disarmament and general and complete disarmament. Yeah. So they don't want to spread it. They don't want to put the influence out there that every country needs it. They're trying to like do everything in their power to not make sure that the nuclear weapons are not used. Okay, so at the beginning of the video, I said that NATO, the Turkey has been doing is skewing towards Russia, and the United States are trying everything in their power to keep them, right? This is what they have been doing, the nuclear sharing. Okay, they're sharing nuclear weapons with them so that other countries, so that they'll be powerful. Okay, they're doing that with Turkey. But even despite all this, on top of all these things, Turkey still don't want nothing to do with them. They're still leaning towards what? The Eastern. That's what the video said, right? They're swinging eastward to Russia. This is where we get back into this article. The U.S. wants to bring Turkey back into the fold because they understand that Turkey is being two-faced right now. Turkey is becoming a wild card. Anybody that wins Turkey, look. The United States have I believe like 1 million active military personnel, right? And then Russia also has 1 million, and then have 2 million like on reserve. And they have China backing them up. China has 2 million. 2 million. So the US is already vastly outnumbered. That is why they want Turkey backing them up. But Turkey sees that, y'all about to be gone, man, and we want nothing to do with y'all. That is the spirit of Turkey right now. And the prophecy is coming to pass. Everybody's gonna forsake America, man. This is Trump saying we need Turkey back into the fold. In the fold. They have been good allies for many years, all the way back to fighting alongside the United States in the Korean War, up to its presence with U.S. in Afghanistan. But he's bringing this out, but he also forgets that this is also one of the reasons why the U.S. allies have forsaken them. They are tired of fighting the United States wars. They are tired of feeding them. They are tired of pouring out everything they have for the benefit, only for the benefit of the United States. They are tired of that. They see that there's a war coming, and so the nuclear deterrence is that the deterrence theory is that everybody needs a nuclear weapon so that everybody can be respected. The nuclear sharing is a way to do that. Okay, so they're sharing nuclear weapons so that everybody can respect it. Everybody can feel safe. Everybody can feel as if, hey, if war pops up, I can do something, right? Now, it says right here that in the case of war, so if you don't know what time it is, let's get into this part. This is the time we're in. It says, in case of war, the United States told NATO allies that the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which means that we're trying everything that we can to not make sure to not use the nuclear weapons. That's what this treaty is. Trying everything that we can to not make sure we use the weapons, right? But it says that in the case of war, that shit will no longer be controlling. Right here. Mutually assured destruction. Mutually assured destruction It's a doctrine of military strategy and national security policy in which a full-scale use of nuclear weapons by two or more opposing sides will cause complete annihilation of both attacker and defender. This is the time that we're in. This is the time that we're going to be in, because what they say that in case of war, they say that during war, they don't care about restraining themselves. Okay? And you see evidence of that, because every second, every day that you wake up, every time the sun rises, you hear that there's a nuclear weapon being produced. That should tell you that we're in a time of war, because they've already told themselves that in a time of war, we don't care about restraining ourselves to nuclear missiles. And you see that now, they are not restraining themselves. That should tell you what time they're in. You got troops being placed around the world. Things are getting popped off. You should know what time it is. The day of the Lord is at hand, man. You got to repent. Got to try your best to follow the law, statutes, and commandments and come back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Pray for forgiveness from him. And hope that you're one of the elect, man. We're in a time of, things are getting popped up, man. It's crazy, but, through the Spirit, man, I want to say Shalom to the Akims that are listening. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Barakatah, and to the few Akwaf that are listening to, Shalom. And, man, look, time that's coming, man, because we're always saying it, but we're not saying it. We feel as if we're not saying it enough. All right, Shalom.